Hi, hello, and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We're very excited to kick off the first of our Relate deep dive sessions. First and foremost, my name is Megan Watson. I'm on the AI product marketing team here at Zendesk, and I'm going to be your host. But we've got a lot of awesome people here today to talk about AI agents. Before we get started, we do want to let you know about some important upcoming events coming that you might want to check out. So on April 29th at 11 a.m. Central Time, the Zendesk team will launch a new series, so 5 steps to provide email support. The first episode, step 1, is planning your setup. And we're going to focus on building a strong foundation for effective email communication. So come and learn how to customize Zendesk features to fit your business needs for efficient email support on April 29th. There will be a live Q&A session and we'll follow up with insights and information there. So I think Brett is going to be sharing the link to that, so check that out. On May 6th, we're going to have one on the second episode actually of the series. And this is how to organize your team. This session will focus on strategies for organizing your team, including roles, groups, managing customer organizations, and using custom fields. So hosts will demo key Zendesk features and answer your questions live during this session. And then, of course, we want to promote our next deep dive series, which will be specific on our new employee service SKU. So lots that we talked about at Relate, about all the features related to this. Really exciting, more to come and share with you there. But that event will be on May 14th, and we'd love for you all to join us. So back to why we're here. We just wanted to make sure you knew about what was coming. Sometimes we run out of time. Wanted to start with that. But why we're here today. So again, this is the first of our post-Relate deep dive series on all the amazing things we launched and talked about at Relate. And today, again, we're going to be focusing on the AI agents. Super important and worth noting that if you were unable to attend Relate, it took place in Las Vegas at the end of March this year. And our biggest announcement of the week was our resolution platform. So while AI has transformed customer service, the core challenges remain the same. AI alone is not enough. It requires a structured system that ensures every issue moves efficiently towards an issue being solved, not just a ticket being closed. And that's why we announced this resolution platform. Our always easy to use, easy to implement, and easy to get value from service solution that ensures issues have a clear path to a resolution, where a network of AI agents, knowledge, automation, and a complete suite of solutions purpose-built for service and human expertise all work together seamlessly to drive real outcomes. And here in the community, we plan to do a deep dive on all of these areas where we launched new capabilities that relate. And today, again, we're going to be focusing on AI agents. So we have a fantastic panel here to lead us on this topic. Each of these individuals works closely with our AI agents, and they are here to walk us through the functionality, answer your questions you either submitted in advance when you registered, or as they come up in the Q&A. And I think this is important for if you're new for these events. Chat is for all the fun, letting us know where you're calling in from, your reactions to what you're seeing. And the Q&A, if you see at the bottom, the Q&A is where our product experts are going to be answering your questions live. So if you do have a product question, please submit them there. And give our experts time to answer your questions. They're going to do their best to answer everything. Anything we don't get to, we're going to follow up on after the event. In addition, we are recording this event. So when you register, you will receive the recording, a link to this deck, as well as answers to all the questions submitted in advance of the event and during the event. So thank you for that. Just a little housekeeping. With that, I'll stop talking and pass it over to my colleague, Aaron, who's going to kick us off.
Thanks so much, Megan, and thanks everybody for joining. It's always, such a joy to do these events for you all. So I hope you get a lot out of it. And So, according to our most recent CX Trends report, we know that case volume is increasing dramatically, right? I'm sure you all see this in your businesses. And to keep up with this volume, we believe AI agents will play an even more critical role, right? In fact, in the next few years, we predict that AI agents will actually handle well over 80% of these resolutions. But the road to automation isn't without, its hurdles. And I'm sure, some of you, who've joined the call today, have been facing these challenges as it relates to scaling, right? So first, it's still on the customer to drive the conversation, to get what they want, and the conversations often feel one way because AI agents can't handle kind of off script or unexpected interactions, and it really limits the automation potential. And another challenge we hear a lot from you folks out there is just how hard it is to get AI agents up and running, how hard they are to maintain, despite the promises you hear from other vendors. And finally, we have all heard a lot of stories about AI agents hallucinating or maybe going awry, and so there are also concerns about quality and control. But AI agents have come a long way. And that's why we're excited to share with you our next generation of AI agents that'll accelerate that path to 80% automation with minimal setup, full control, and built-in transparency. Now, they're powered by adaptive reasoning or agentic AI, and these AI agents autonomously determine the most effective path to a resolution, handling even the most nuanced inquiries across every channel. And you'll see this in action in a few short minutes. And at the core, we're building our agentic AI agents around these four guiding principles, right? So, number one, our AI agents have the agency, the ability to plan and make decisions, to solve user problems, interacting with the necessary tools and business systems. And two, we also give you full control by giving the AI agent business policies, procedures that they can work within to find the best resolution. And you retain full control over the scope and limitations of those automations as well. And then number three, true to our Zendesk DNA, we're building something that's just really easy to use. You don't need developers or maybe previous expertise. You don't need to spend months, training bots, with expressions and intents. Those days are in the past. And lastly, our AI agents offer comfort and empathy, like a human. So now with that agency, they can follow up or adapt as that conversation maybe shifts that feels really natural, like you're talking to a human and not like a bot. So how it works, right? So Zendesk AI agents are purpose-built to deliver a complete service resolution at scale, and they do that with these four essential elements. So they tap into your knowledge, your help center, product data, internal documentation, wherever that information is living, to respond with trusted answers instantly in a conversational, human-like way. And then there's use cases. So these are the goal-based outcomes, like updating an address, canceling an order, whatever those top use cases you have in your company, and they can adapt that conversation dynamically. Then there's procedures. So you give the AI agent that procedure. You might even have it drafted as it is, right? You just describe how your human agent would handle these use cases, in a step-by-step way. And they could be multi-part, and they can also include, say, policy checks and precision. Then there's also actions that connect your AI agent to your backend system so it can complete those tasks, right? A full end-to-end resolution from verifying, someone's identity, authenticating that user, to applying that refund in the end, right? And this is what makes Zendesk AI agents uniquely capable of delivering that real end-to-end resolution. So first is knowledge, right? So this is where most customers start, and it's the fastest way to see value. So you simply connect your help center, documentation, other content, and your AI agent can be live in minutes. It really only takes a few minutes to set up. You'll see that very, very soon, and it'll be actively resolving, questions. And you'll be seeing value right away. It automatically speaks in your brand's tone of voice, supports multiple languages, even if your help center is in one, and works across every channel. Now, this is also part of our essential offering that's free in suite and support plans, so you can start using it straight away. And what we've seen from customers so far is you can hit even 30%, automation rates just by flipping it on. So imagine the kind of power you can have with Essential. And that's the fastest path to value. So with use cases, so once you're answering these kind of common questions, the low-hanging fruit FAQ style questions, the next step is automating those more specific use cases. So what your customers are really trying to accomplish, right? So think about whatever your top 5 most common use cases that come in, right? It could be canceling subscriptions, updating, delivery addresses, checking a billing status. With Zendesk, you don't have to build conversation. You don't have to build these complex flows. You just define the outcome, and then the AI agent will figure out the best way to get you there. So it'll ask clarifying questions. These AI agents are just very proactive. They'll disambiguate, they'll take the right action, and then adapt also in real time. So it really feels like you're talking to a human. Amazing. It's very cool, honestly. And yeah, so that's what makes these AI agents so goal oriented. They don't follow a script. Those days, again, are behind us. This technology is moving so fast, and they can reason, respond, and resolve dynamically on their own. Yeah. So for actions, for procedures, sorry. Yeah. So some resolutions need more than just, understanding that request. They need to follow a specific process. So this is where procedures come in. This is how you teach your AI agent how your business works. So what to check, what rules to follow, and in what order. So whether that's verifying the customer, applying that refund policy, triggering some multi-step workflow, the agent follows the guidelines that you give it, all in natural language, like you see here in the image. And what's so powerful is that you get full transparency into what the AI agent is doing and why. So you can see how it's reasoning in real time, and you can refine that logic as your business evolves. So this gives you really complete control over those resolutions. And then true resolutions mean more than just completing that task. It means guiding the customer to the outcome that they need. Other bot solutions out there might just answer questions or do a task execution, and that's where they stop. Zendesk AI agents go even further, and they do that with actions. So this is how our AI agents connect to your backend systems, order management tools, billing tools, to take that right next step. So whether that's issuing a refund or updating subscription, verifying their identity, insert your most common use case here. And they don't just execute on tasks in isolation. They know when that action is needed. They reason and adapt and then complete that full resolution. So you've heard about those guiding principles and those foundational concepts that power agentic AI. But what are those features? What do we launch at Relate? So our new upgraded AI agent builder, we've made it even easier to deploy and scale these powerful AI agents. There's no need to get buried in complex workflows and these decision trees, right? We're moving past that. Of course, you can still employ them if you wish, but we're moving beyond that with the latest and greatest. You just tell it, what your business does, the actions to take, like I was describing before, and how you want those conversations to run. This is where you design those procedures, and from there, the AI agent builds a smart, natural path of its own. So you can, go live even quicker and also adapt on the fly. And adaptive reasoning is where our AI agents get really smart. So they don't just follow the script, right? This is bots of the past. Adaptive reasoning is what we're calling all of the improvements we're making under the hood. These AI agents analyze each request that comes in real time. They determine that best next step and then adapt dynamically, all within those guardrails that you defined. This means that they can pick up on the context. They can spot missing information. They'll ask follow-up questions and really drill into exactly that use case that they need to resolve, just like your human agents would. But one of the biggest unlocks here is visibility. So with reasoning controls, you get that real-time view into how your AI agent is thinking. It's the exact steps that it's taking to solve a problem. And this means you're not just handing things over to the AI blindly. You can monitor and fine-tune and then really build trust in every resolution your AI agent delivers. And hybrid flows give you the best of both worlds, right? So you can have the flexibility of generative AI and the power of these new agentic AI, and also the precision of structured conversation design. So we know from feedback that we've heard from our customers, right, that you might need to employ conversation flows, maybe if you have to adhere to certain compliance or legal terminology, and you don't want to just hand it over to a purely generative response, right? You need that control, and we offer that for you. So you can let the AI handle those open-ended dynamic parts of the interaction while still guiding it with clear business logic and rules when you need it. Like I said, for those, say, compliance or legal issues, right? What have you. So full control with none of that rigidity. So you can shape how your AI agent supports your customers and drives to your goals. But great CX isn't just about solving problems, right? It's about doing it in a way that accurately reflects your brand. So with custom personas and tone of voice controls, your AI agents can reflect your company's unique style. So whether that's friendly or casual, formal, professional, you can make every conversation really feel like it's coming from your brand and not just like some generic bot. And instructions give you even greater control over the output from the AI agent. So this enables your AI agent to actually handle specific queries even more precisely, ensuring every interaction aligns with your unique customer service needs and brand standards. So with instructions, you could customize AI agent responses for, say, using approved terminology or avoiding certain phrases, responses, or avoid talking about competitors, for example, addressing specific topics in a tailored way, or asking specific follow-up questions. Or for example, another one I heard the other day was if someone is writing in with a question about security, you could give the AI agent an instruction that says, if anyone asks about security, say, we take security at your business very important. We take it very seriously, or it's of the utmost importance. So you could give it those specific instructions if you like. And to keep getting better, you need that visibility. And that's exactly what our analytics and QA tools deliver. So you can get clear organization-wide view of how your AI agents are performing, where they're succeeding, and where there's room to improve. So it's everything you need to fine-tune automation, boost efficiency, and really just keep raising that bar on your customer experience. And with that, I will pass the mic over to Stuart, and he's going to show you some of this, the latest and greatest.
Thanks, Aaron. Hey, everyone. I'm Stuart. I'm a product manager, formerly Ultimate, now at Zendesk. Been here for a couple of years, and I would just love to show you some of the stuff that Aaron has been talking about here. I'm going to start out by showing something from kind of the customer perspective, like what it actually looks like in a widget, and then I'll show you some stuff from the admin perspective. So I will just share my screen. Okay, so I'm going to start I'm just going to show a video first and just give you a little bit of chat over that. So agentic AI in action. So we know there's a bunch of agents under the hood, but first I want to just show kind of the typical customer experience. So let's imagine we're customer support for Taylor Swift. We have a logged in user here, Karine. So she's just starting with something just conversational, right? There's no content here. We're going to figure out as the agent, what's the first thing that I want to know? I want to know what my task is. So the user has been quite vague. I have a couple of things that I need help with, right? So traditional kind of older AI agents actually not going to know what to do with that. In this case, we have this kind of agentic approach. So it's going to find out what's its task, right? So the best way to do that is conversationally. Let's ask the user what our task needs to be. So the user gives a relatively straightforward request here, although it's couched with a bunch of typos and a little bit of a story. We already have the user's email address, so in the background, what's happening here is we're figuring out what she would like, and we're taking that action, right? So very simple, like we're just going to be calling an API, doing a sort of basic action. So next up, we're going to ask something about our orders, okay? So again, the agent needs to figure out, okay, well, what is this here? So I'm going to figure out that I need to call the back end. I need to figure out what the orders are. We present them here. Now, this is an opportunity for a little bit of reasoning on the part of the agent. Okay, so the user is just asking, what's in the cheaper one of these two orders? So she's not saying, tell me about order 1, tell me about the order 1023, nothing like that. So this is something where, there's no button that the user presses. This is purely about natural language. And you can see we figure out this is the cheaper one is order 1023. So something that from the user's perspective, this is super seamless and this is super obvious. But from the admin perspective, this is very powerful. This saves you building a dialogue with buttons, with all this kind of stuff, right? It just works. We can just figure it out. Similarly, user here just asking, is the red edition posted yet? We're not saying number 1, we're not saying the full name. We just ask. And the agent figured out, yeah, okay, I need to figure out in the background, I need to call the system and figure out, has this been shipped? No, it's not been. User is now asking, can we cancel it? So important to flag here, the agent is asking, should I proceed with the cancellation? So this goes to the point that Aaron made about power and control, like balancing these things, right? We're not going to take some sort of significant action that affects the business without actually checking. So this is unlike adding your email to a list. This is something that actually is kind of, it matters more. So we're confirming it needs to be done. And then the user just wants to check, as you're likely to do. So where does this leave me? Like, what do my orders look like? And just to show that this is all updated in real time, all of this is happening behind the scenes. Super simple, and we effectively have a resolution here. So the agent wants to know, does it have anything else to do? It's going to keep asking, can I help you? Is there something else that I can do? You'll note here, we're asking, do you need help with another order? The user is saying yes, but the answer is actually kind of no, right? Like, so we're saying yeah, but we're actually asking a knowledge question here. So in a way, it's a little bit of a curveball. It's a yes, but it's a no. Like, no problem. The agent picks that up and can say, okay, yeah, I get it. What specifically would you like to know? So now we're going to be querying the knowledge source. There's this little cute interstitial message just saying, let me go and have a look for you. And then we get the message back, we get the answer back from the knowledge source. So you can see a kind of seamless transition between several different requests. We've got use cases here, we've got procedures and actions, and also some knowledge. And then just a little bit, you can see, just some conversation that doesn't really have any sort of business meaning. No problem. Like, the agent is happy to handle that. So what I'd also like to show you is how does this all look from your perspective, right? So no longer from the customer perspective, but what is this for an admin? Something that Aaron mentioned was about having an insight into the reasoning and to understand everything that's happening. So we've got conversation logs quite simply set out, right? You can see these are just the messages sent in order. What you can also see is, for example, in this case, we're making a plan, right? So the question was, can you remind me what my orders were? So we've got a use case. I'll show you that in a second. We're making a plan. So we make an API call to fetch the user's orders, and now I need to provide an overview of the orders to the user. Okay, so the steps are there. Also want to show you, we've got response before customization. I'll refer to this in a minute when I talk about instructions, but just to say, this is like the answer just before it's about to be sent. So the customization that would apply, for example, we've got some instructions, just add some emojis, and then the personalization that I mentioned. Okay, so we've got the AI agent name, the company name, and then we've got a custom tone of voice here. I'll talk about this a little bit more in a second. So let's say we should have a little look at the use case. So we've mentioned that you can have a procedure or a dialogue. So the dialogue would be what I would describe as generation 2 of AI. So you're going to set out specifically all of the steps logically that could happen in a flow. Whereas the great innovation here instead is we're going to be using a procedure. So what is the procedure? What does this consist of? So we've got, in each case, we've got like basically divide it into a little box for what are the steps that are happening, neatly color coded so that anything that's conditional is going to be differently colored from anything which is an action or an instruction, just to make that stuff clear. But where did this come from? Okay, so this is effectively created entirely through writing out the steps. So this is really the point being, you're using natural language here. If you wanted to explain to somebody what's our procedure here, you just need to be able to do that. As long as you understand your own procedure and you can explain it to someone else, then you can explain it to the agent, and the agent is just able to create this flow. If there's things that you would like to change in there, you can just change the description, and there you go. You'll see some of this stuff has colored boxes. So let's say that we know that we need to use a particular API. You can just use the slash, and then you can choose, okay, I'm gonna select a particular integration should be used. Similarly, you can tell the agent just to save something as a parameter, but you can also give it specifically, like, this is the parameter that I want to save something as. You can make any changes, you can click update, and then you're going to see an updated version of that. Just to show, I think I maybe have one here. So you can see here we've got a pretty complicated procedure here. So this is for cancel order. So we saw this one in action, right? There's quite a lot going on. However, if we were gonna have a look at the alternative, so kind of how it used to be, and this goes to the piece about the ease of creation, but then also the ease of maintenance. Had we decided to use a dialogue for this, this is the number of steps that we would need to achieve the same thing that we can achieve with natural language, right? So we can take all of this, and while it's still, the steps involved are still going to be somewhat complex because there's things we need to check. We need to check the system. We need to take actions. Like, there's things that do need to happen. But at the same time, the creation of this is, you just need to be able to write out the steps, step 1, step 2, all the way through, and then include the actions. And then you'll see it in this very clear way. And for me, certainly, I think that this is like a way clearer, like, visual for this sort of thing. Instead of needing the complex branching of logic, we can keep that logic just inside each of these boxes. Once we've solved what's going to happen, we're just going to move on to the next one. So pretty cool stuff. I think that covers the procedures that we actually saw, the use cases and procedures that we saw in the demo. Something else though was one of the things was about knowledge. We'd asked about a tour. And so in this case, you can see this is actually even simpler. This was a case of you can attach just a knowledge source. We support a bunch of different types of knowledge source. In this case, it was just coming from the web crawler. So simply you plug in a start URL and set it off, and it will go. And now your bot understands everything that was connected there. Last thing that I wanted to show was, let's have a little bit of a look at personalization. So We've got the basic identity stuff, the agent name, company name, a bit about business profile. I think we might talk about this a bit kind of later. The thing that I wanted to show is the tone of voice. So you've got your choices between professional, informal, enthusiastic. Honestly, what we found is for most customers, they're pretty happy with these. There's usually something that fits, but certainly we have cases where the unique sort of brand tone of voice can only be expressed through having really a custom tone of voice. So you can just write in whatever you like here, the more the better. And you can also control the answer length. We're always going to try and be concise, but you can actually, have longer responses if you feel that the types of thing that are going to be covered by your agent really need to be longer knowledge responses. Pronoun formality, I don't know if we have anybody here who is serving languages that have pronoun formality, so French, German, for example. What we found was that customers basically like to have this different for different markets often. Like quite common that in French, you want to have formal pronouns. In German, you might want to have them to be informal. Last thing, exciting, instructions. So Aaron mentioned this. This is like, as I was saying a second ago, the agent reasons through to get to a response, right? Like it already knows what it's going to say. But that's before the personalization and customization. So we've got the tone of voice will get applied, but also instructions. So a very basic example here was just add emojis, but you can also use this for formatting. Let's say that your knowledge sources have different formatting for steps that things should be carried out in. You can say just always format it like this. You can say if a particular topic has been covered in the request, always include this link without needing to make that into a use case, or always use this verbiage. An example I've seen quite a few times is, let's say that you're in a regulated industry and you have some sort of, relatively something that comes up a lot where the answers might seem like they could be financial advice, for example, and you really don't want to give that impression. You can say to the bot, if the answer might seem like financial advice, add this disclaimer. And we've seen that being pretty reliable. Still not exactly the same as really, use cases where you really are going to hammer that home, but still extremely useful. And we're seeing customers are really relying on that. And I think that might be enough for me for the moment. So I'm going to stop sharing and let Aaron or Megan share again.
Great. Thanks so much, Stuart. Yeah, so it was an amazing demo. Super, super powerful. And just, I really still can't get over about how quickly this technology is moving. So Stuart just showed you how to scale your automation approach with the power of agentic AI, how these AI agents proactively identify that next task to accomplish, how you can connect to backend systems, how you can create those procedures in natural language, and how you can personalize the output from the AI agent. But for those of you who are just getting started on your kind of journey to 80% automation plus, you can really get started in minutes with AI Agents Essential. So what we were showing was AI Agents Advanced, right? But for that, I'd like to pass the mic over to Daria.
Yeah. Thank you, Aaron, and thank you, Stuart, for your presentation about the AI Agents Advanced. As Aaron mentioned, I will show you how to start with AI Agents Essential. So basically what you need is to set up a knowledge base, add some articles that are published and with proper restrictions. Then on the product tray, you can choose the AI agents. We are setting AI agents for messaging. This is what you will see at the beginning. I click create AI agents. I need to choose a name for my AI agent. And because it's dog traveling industry, I choose a name. Because I'm at trial, I have only one brand here. But if you are multi-branded help center, you will have the brand. You can choose which brand to connect. Then I started testing my AI agents. As you can see, the name is the same name as I did for the first step. So now I'm writing down some question full of typos, as we can expect, and I'm waiting to see what the agent can do. So I got my pretty big response to all the to my questions. I can dive deeper into all the articles that it found based on my knowledge. I provided feedback that it was correct, and now I can move on to the more advanced settings. So identity basically is the same, the name of the bot, and you can add avatar. Business profile is something that is pretty important, and we are using it especially if you have some like constraints within your company, like opening hours and so on. So we are using it to help with answering questions, and we will get back to it in a bit. Okay, the tone of voice, I go with informal, and you could see on the right how it looks, how the different tone of voice looks. Here are the languages that we are supporting, those languages. I click the default language, which is English, and those languages support the messages that I set up in the behavior tab. So this is how I want to start my bot communicating with the client. As you can see, here is the default one on the right. On each section, I can choose add the option to talk to a human. So here I did with unhelpful messages. I will do the same if the bot can answer any question, and with escalation, I can choose between many options. I can choose the schedule, so when the escalations may be turned into ticket. I can leave the message, ask the client to set name, email, or I can choose a custom field with custom buttons. Here you can see the view of the escalation. Okay. And that's it of the configuration. Now I can test my agent. So once again, as you can see, we are starting with the name of the chat. So Woof Woof Travel. I can see my setup greeting message that I changed, and I'm writing one more time incorrect grammar and a lot of typos to test my agent, how it will work. And the agent will take some time, but it once again provide me with the option, and I can see the articles that that the answer is based on. I can view and open the article. I can also provide the feedback, which I clicked that yes, this was helpful. Which is something that we always encourage people while testing the agent to do. Because it helps us with improving how the agent works. Okay, now we got the follow-up question. So the bot asks if it could help me. So you can see the similarity in behavior with the agentic and the essential. Okay, I asked another question. Here we got only one correct article. Okay, and let's change the language. So right now I will use Polish to ask a question about what is the dog passport that some EU countries requires, and you need to believe me that this is exactly the question I'm asking. It's also incorrect in grammar. As you can see, the bot responded in Polish, which were on the supported language list, but the answer came from the articles in my knowledge base, which are always in English, because that's the default. So that's the language of my knowledge base, and the default language for bot, which you can see in the following question when it asks, was this helpful? So it can provide the answer in the language the user is using, but will always get back to the default language. Okay, and if I said, no, it's not helpful, even though the answer was helpful, I here see the configuration I set up for what should be done if the if the answer would be required as unhelpful. So I choose to, the escalation path is to create ticket. I need to put my name. I need to put my correct email because this is the field that I did required while setting up the bot. Okay, and I get the answer. I think that the bot works. I hit publish the agent. The agent is ready and set to go. So you can see with the status that it's live. And that's all the steps you need for setting up your AI agents essential. Thank you.
Amazing. Yeah. Thanks, Daria. It's super simple to set up. Really, that took you, what, 3 minutes? I mean, yeah, you have some articles in your knowledge base. Like we said before, that's the kind of source of everything, the foundation. But really, if you have a few help articles, like it took you 3 minutes, right? Pretty fast. So you can see that AI agents are really changing the game, helping companies resolve more conversations faster and with less effort. So whether you're just getting started or you're ready to scale, we've got a clear path to drive value at every stage. So here on that AI Agents Essential plan, you can go live in minutes, no complex setup, just connect the knowledge sources and you're off to the races. 30% automation we're seeing from a lot of folks. And thanks to that powerful generative AI that understands the intent and also serves up that knowledge-based content in like a conversational, human-like way. And you can start seeing value from day one. So you can see on my cool chart here, that's how you start driving immediate value. But then when you're up and running, the next step is to scale, and that's where AI Agents Advanced comes in. So you can start layering in more sophisticated use cases, adding procedures or designing conversation flows if you like, plugging in APIs and delivering personalized responses to your customers. So it's about taking what's already working and then building on it, driving automation to 50% and beyond while still, keeping control over those responses. But then after that, how you can even accelerate further. Now, this is how we get you to that 80%. And that's where, you expand across channels, right? So maybe you're starting with chat and you want to add email, or, you're optimizing every interaction with our robust analytics suite or QA, right? And this is how our customers are pushing past 80% while delivering faster, smarter, and more personalized support at scale. And lastly, before we get to the Q&A, which I'm sure everyone's very excited for, I just want to bring in one slide about a customer of ours, Finero. Now, they're a Norwegian mobile telecom. They handle over 50,000 chats and 24,000 emails every year. They've got a team of 50 dedicated service reps. And their goal is to encourage customers to self-serve, right, through their knowledge base and through AI agents, and boost overall efficiency. So how did they tackle this challenge? They implemented AI agents, and they started addressing 30 or so of their most common inquiries, right, with conversation flows and with procedures, like requesting an invoice, for example, or requesting a new SIM card, right? Because they're a telecom. And thanks to generative AI, these AI agents were able to understand what customers were asking for and providing those relevant answers. And as time went on, they didn't just stop there. They started adding APIs. They expanded to email automation. And now they're seeing 60% of customer queries automated outright. And that's after 194% increase in volumes in the last year. So you can see my quote here from Harris, or Harris's quote. With AI agents, you just describe what the question is or what the customer needs help with, and it works from the start. Pretty powerful from Finero. So that brings us to the Q&A. So I'll pass the mic over to Megan.
Awesome. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Stuart. Thank you, Daria. Really great demos, really great content, and just awesome for everyone who was not able to attend Relate to really learn more about all the exciting announcements from from March. So really great content. Again, yes, we are going now into our Q&A portion. And again, a friendly reminder that the questions that we've pulled and are putting into slides here are from all of you. When you registered for the event, you submitted a question. So thank you so much. And we pulled them and put them here. But I also want to encourage you to still keep asking questions in the Q&A tab of our Bevy page here, our event page. We do have experts in the background answering as quickly as they can as well. Perfect. So let's start with the first question. Stuart, asked by Rachel, how do we ensure high quality responses from AI agents?
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, great question. This is what everybody wants to know. So I think, first of all, we've got the kind of framework that Aaron was setting out there, right? So we're talking about, a sort of a pathway to 80%, but how does that really start? So the first thing you can do with both essentials and advanced is, connect your knowledge base. And really, the idea is if you've got a solid, well-structured knowledge base that covers the stuff that people are actually going to ask, then you can ensure high quality responses from your AI agent. We've got some resources to help you structure your knowledge sources. I can drop a link in the chat after I've finished talking. Basically, in short, the idea is that every article needs to answer a question. You want to align topics and questions with their solutions inside the articles. Labeling content can be super helpful with advanced because we have search rules so that you can effectively direct certain content to certain users. You can do that through user segments with essentials. Also just formatting, like, if you think of the AI agent as effectively reading the content, so a clear hierarchy, steps that make sense, keeping it simple, keeping it structured, clarifying terminology is really helpful. And the other thing is knowing your audience as well. So, if you've got a knowledge base that was written for agents, then, if you want your AI agent to answer end user questions, then you're going to have to reformat so that it can understand that this content's for end users. Building on top of the knowledge stuff, certainly like use cases, right? You can have a hybrid approach. Let's say we know what the FAQ style questions are. We've got good knowledge sources. We can answer them. Then you can leverage use cases for either these kind of structured reply dialogues or for the new agentic procedures. So this is on advanced. Anything that needs actions, basically, right? Anything that needs something that's not just information. At that point, use cases are really useful. So basically, I would say it's about starting small and working up iteratively and effectively using analytics and conversation logs. And we'll get more into that with some other questions.
Really great answers, Stuart, and agreed. We do have some great resources for you all on how to better structure knowledge to help here. And so we can share some of that in the chat. But thank you, Stuart. All right, next question. Do you have any best practices for reporting around metrics and metrics around AI? And so this one's both for Daria and Stuart, and it's asked by Seth, but would love both of your takes just from your areas of expertise with AI agents. Daria, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so you can use while starting with essential or with the basic AI agents, you can start with really leveraging the insights that you will see. So to better understand how the agent works, how it doesn't, to check whether your restrictions, your article restrictions are set in the right way. This is also something that we see really often, where the bot cannot find the right answer because it's the restricted content, and you will see in the unresolved conversations. Also, for really thinking about setting up the AI agent, it's really good to use all the reports and metrics that you will have on your knowledge base. where you can also see what answers what questions or queries are being answered and which are not, which may indicate the gap in your knowledge base, which will in turn also be reflected on the performance of the AI in both AI agents. Okay, Stuart?
Thanks. Yes. So quite similar approach for advanced. Basically, like the kind of main message would be to get the most out of the advanced AI agent. Basically, we start by just diving into the updated analytics page, and we've got this broken down into 3 core sections. So there's a performance overview, AI agent performance analysis, and then the use case performance. So these kind of help you pretty quickly see what's working, what conversations are being fully resolved, and where you've potentially got escalations or errors that are going to need a second look. From there, same as with Essentials, you want to dive into the conversation logs. This is like super helpful if you want to have a deep dive. 2 things though that can make that a lot easier. So one of them is for larger traffic bots that are giving knowledge replies. We have a knowledge gap feature. And so what that's doing is identifying with any unanswered queries, it then clusters these into topics, right? And then it's going to tell you, here are the topics that are not being answered, and you might want to have either a knowledge source for this, like update your help center for this, or maybe you'll decide that's actually best answered by a use case. Similarly, we have a use case suggestions feature, so you can have the AI analyze your conversations and find potential use cases. So you don't necessarily need to come up with all of these yourself.
Thank you both. Really good answers. And if we have any links, we'll share them in the chat. Otherwise, again, we'll follow up with answers to all these questions in our follow-ups to you all. All right, I think this one. Okay, how can we drive better upfront info gathering from contacts with AI? And this is asked by Sean, and again, for both you, Daria and Stuart.
Okay, Stuart, maybe you want to start this one?
Yeah, sure. So something you can do from the perspective of advanced, this is something that's easily done with in conversation flows. One of the ways that you can do this, we basically have 2 ways. So you can be connected to your CRM. Hopefully that CRM is Zendesk, and you can grab any user information that is available already via actions. But similarly, you can just have a dialogue, right? Like you can say, perhaps in your welcome reply or anywhere else, you can just ask users questions, and then you can save that information. If it's going to be something that's useful for a procedure, or if it's going to be just something that you're going to be saving otherwise in the back end. So relatively straightforward. You can have dynamic forms that you can customize, capture key details about particular issues. Say I want to grab the product type, the order number, the problem that they've got at the very, very beginning, and then you can use that to then sort of tailor the experience, like to tailor the flow. Yeah, I don't know if you've got anything to add to that, Daria. Maybe it's the
yeah, with AI agents, Essential is a bit more limited. So basically, you can set up the greeting messages, the first the messages that is starting with the bot. You can add the escalations. So when the bot doesn't find anything, and there you can grab some knowledge about your customer. But yeah, and we are working on adding more personalized features to AI Agents Essential, but it's not quite there. So right now is really limited to the escalations or asking for talking to a human.
All right, awesome. Thank you both. Next question from Mary Lou. How can we use Zendesk Guide articles to supplement AI agents? Daria, do you want to start?
Yes, so basically Zendesk Guide, or the knowledge base that you have on Zendesk Guide, is the primary source for AI agents to be used. And if you wonder how you can optimize your knowledge base for AI agents, there are some really basic steps. The first one is to try to keep the articles focusing on one topic, one subject, one problem. If you have different ways of solving this problem, you can leverage the sections within the articles, do the paragraphs with questions, or putting like the keywords that describe each step or different processes. Also, is really good to LLMs can leverage and find and understand the synonyms between like pretty technical language and the language that the end user is using, but it's also really nice to write articles in the same way that your user is speaking. Uh, the other important thing, which I briefly mentioned before, is to be focusing on the article restrictions. So make sure that if you have some content that it's only allowed for admins or signed in authenticated users to be seen, then please keep those restrictions. But if in those articles are parts that can be available to all users and will answer their questions, create another article with this part, because otherwise unauthenticated user won't be able to find any answer using bot. Stu?
Nothing to add, actually. I thought it was very comprehensive. The only one thing that I would add is we dropped Brett already dropped a link to the article that talks about optimizing your help center for generative replies. Already dropped that in chat, so it's worth having a look.
The Q&A tab in Bevy, and I just want to give them a shout out. Thank you so much. They've been answering all your questions. Keep them coming, but we'll keep going through the ones that you submitted when you registered. All right, so for Aaron, we've got one for you from William. What options do we have for routing customers to support teams if the AI agent is unsuccessful?
Yeah, thanks so much, William. Yeah, of course, sometimes this happens. We talk about 80%, but there's, that other 20%, right? It does happen. So you can always control when and how you want to escalate to, the humans on your team. So you can, send a message from the AI agent that lets the customer know what's happening. And then you can do a quick check on your team's availability or operating hours. We also offer that functionality. And then you can choose how to escalate. So you can send an email, just drop in the email address of the agent or your team or the team you want to route it to. You can forward to an agent, so you can pick the department for a live handoff. If you've already set a default in those in the messaging settings, you can use that automatically, or like some kind of custom escalation. So you can use this to track escalations, like going to things like a web form or a hotline, and it adds a label for the reporting, but doesn't point to a specific destination. So as you like.
Thank you, Aaron.
Mhm.
All right, one more for you. There might be more,
cool.
but is there any ticket trend analysis option available in AI agents which can scan the ticket and make a recommendation based on this? From Maruthi.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Thanks. I'm glad you brought this up because we just released use case suggestions in EAP. So this is how you can rapidly build and scale your automation with AI-powered suggestions for use cases based on what's most likely to kind of boost your automation potential. So based on your existing tickets, the AI model will identify common topics and generate those relevant use case suggestions for you based on that analysis. So you'll be presented with this overview page in the product that shows those suggested use cases along with examples of the messages that led to each suggestion. And this is just like a really cool way, to get started. So instead of maybe like, I don't know, using your brain power or whatever to be like, oh, what are my most common topics? And then writing the use cases yourself, you just let, the platform do it for you. So pretty nifty.
Very nifty indeed. Just a friendly reminder, folks, we are at 60 minutes, and I know normally we do 60-minute events. Friendly reminder, this is a 75-minute event. So if you have 15 more minutes with us, we've got a few more questions to get to. So next question asked by Gina, do you have any way to monitor or grade the AI agent responses? And I'd love to hear from both of you, Daria and Stuart. Or maybe just Stuart, up to you.
Sure, I'll go first, and then we'll see what I miss, and if Daria needs to fill in. So I mean, basically the answer to this is yeah, absolutely. So there's some stuff that I talked about before. So the analytics and conversation logs. I mean, I'm just briefly to sort of go over that again. Conversation logs you can filter. So I'm talking about advanced in this case. Conversation logs you can filter by the outcome, right? So whether that's a custom resolution that you've set, if a particular node has been reached in a dialogue, but also for the agentic stuff too, right? So has the agent answered a question from a knowledge source, or is it just a conversational response? Did it not understand at all? Has it been answered using a use case? So all of these you can filter and look at your conversation logs. You can also look at analytics for that higher level of, okay, what are my numbers, right? Like we're playing a numbers game. Like we want to resolve automatically as many issues as we have, and so analytics is a great place for that. One specific shout out though, I want to talk about briefly, just talk about BSAT, right? So you can monitor every conversation that comes in, optimize performance, and get even higher automation rates by using BSAT. So you can effectively just collect a rating as feedback from the customers. You can just set up a BSAT reply. And the BSAT is just measuring their happiness with how the AI agent performs. Aaron, were you wanting to say something there? Sorry, I thought I heard you for a second, and I just wondered if you wanted to jump in.
Sorry.
No, all good, all good.
You're doing great.
Yeah, no, all good. So yeah, so BSAT basically is just customers are going to give the AI agent's response a rating on the scale of 1 to 5. That can be stars or emojis, whatever you like. And this is kind of the best way to gauge your agent's performance, right? Like in the end, what matters, how do customers feel about it? That was that.
I don't have anything more to add.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. I just want to get both of your perspectives. So if you feel like the other person covered it, I think it's great. All right. How can we implement translations in the web widget with an AI agent? And this is asked by Bianca.
Okay. I can start with the coverage of the language. So as you saw during the demo, you can set up the translations for all the like greeting messages. We call them also small talks. So the messages that the bot asks at the beginning of the conversation while checking if they can help you with something else, if they didn't answer your questions and so on. And basically you are doing it in the language setup. You are checking the box for translations, setting up the languages that you have the translations, and that's it. If you are using the bot, and this was also the example that I showed, and you will, like, your user will change the language while talking to the bot will answer, always tries to answer with the language that the user is speaking. There is one limit to it. It needs to be the language supported with AI agents. If it's not the language supported with AI agents, the bot will fall back to the default bot language. So that's the only limitation. And to make sure that, I don't know, we have some different policies for US and for Norway. And I'm living in Norway, but I ask the questions in English, so the bot will always pull out the articles, the content, and create the answer based on the knowledge from the Norway knowledge base to provide me with the answer that is really related to the place that I'm in. Thanks.
Cool. And one thing I just wanted to add, so in terms of advanced generative replies for advanced, so anything from your knowledge sources, same in the sense that we support roughly 80 languages for generative replies. You set them up in a very similar way to Essentials. You're just going to say what are the languages that this agent ought to speak. A little bit of a difference with advanced, you also have an unsupported language reply that you can set up, which is effectively a use case where you can say, this is what to do when the user asks something in a language that we recognize, but we've decided not to support or that we can't support, and you can decide what should happen. So for example, you could say, in Estonian, we don't actually support Estonian, or we only support English right now, or whatever. You can have some control over specifically what happens. Something really cool with the agentic AI is, so imagine that you would set up scripted replies, so these kind of dialogue structures for, let's say for your use cases, this is what you've used. Well, downside of having scripted dialogues is you got to script them in every language, right? Like, we support making the duplication of these relatively easy, but you still got to do it, right? You still have to translate them. Whereas if you use procedures, you're just going to write a procedure in the language, you're just going to write a procedure in English, and then set up your bot so that it can answer in any language. And then at that point, you've now got multi-language coverage without copying that procedure a whole bunch of times. So nice little extra advantage of a smart agent. That was all, I think.
All right, thank you both. I was just putting in the chat that I feel like something really cool with agentic AI ... should be like a podcast. And Stuart, maybe you can think about that on the side.
Side hustle.
All right, next question, Aaron from James. How does Copilot fit into AI agent features? Are they completely separate or are they connected?
This is a very good question. Thank you for asking it, James. And like the answer to several of these already, it's for now they're separate, but it's on the roadmap, right? We are we're actively working to integrate all of these products to provide just an even better experience for your customers and your team. So this is something that's very much top of mind for us, and the team is working on the roadmap, all the steps it'll take to get us there. But yeah, that I can't commit to any timelines at the moment, but it's something that's very much top of mind.
Thanks, Aaron, for the honest answer. All right. Stuart from Lisa, what are some tips and tricks when it comes to using instructions and custom tone of voice in AI Agents Advanced?
Yeah, so we've seen, I showed a little bit of what these are, right? Like, and how they were used in our example in our Swifty bot. One thing that I think is kind of worth repeating to get the most value out of this stuff, right, is that the AI agent is forming its response based on everything it knows from the knowledge sources, and all of the things that it has been told to do in the procedures, right? But then there's this moment before it's going to deliver that answer to the user. And that's the moment where instructions come into play, right? So what this means is you've got to remember the purpose of the instructions. Instructions are about they're about molding or shaping that final answer. They're not about the procedure itself, right? You're going to make a procedure for that. They're not about the knowledge itself. We've got the knowledge for that. It's really about crafting these things which are to do with the way that something is said, or just like adding something on top of that. So I think that's my kind of like number one. If there's one takeaway, it's really about understanding when these things come into play, and therefore what you can do with them. Also though, remember, like, clarity and directness, in the end, instructions are prompting an LLM, right? And so, you know, we're kind of all prompt engineers now in 2025. And something really important there is just clarity and directness, right? So if the instruction is something like, I would like my AI agent to blah, 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 not like that. What we're going to say is, always do this. We're saying you to the agent, right? And that's the strongest compliance is always going to come from a just direct, it's an instruction, right? Just like directly telling it what to do. Also super important, avoiding conflicts. In this case, what I mean is the obvious, like, you don't want to have two instructions that conflict with each other. Use emojis, don't use emojis, like say this, don't say this, right? So there's that. But also it's about using the features that already exist. So, you know, we've got a welcome reply. This already exists. You don't need to use instructions for that. Or the pronoun formality, that lives inside pronoun formality settings. So basically making sure that we're using the right thing to get the right result. And then last thing, tone of voice. I just put tone of voice tips here. Basically, just use a bunch of examples. I found the best way is effectively what as nerds would call few-shot prompting. So giving some examples of how the LLM should behave, how the agent should behave. So maybe that might be some terminology. You know, like I might know what I mean when I say talk like a true Swiftie, or Erica knows exactly what I mean. But the agent isn't really going to necessarily know that unless you give some examples of like what might that mean, what, you know, use emojis, like speak like this, speak like that, and really give some examples. Yeah, and I think that will take you a long way.
Sure. Happy to answer this. Let me start with saying that we often see that the business profile is left empty, which is a big mistake, and it's something that we really do leverage while creating answers in the chatbot. So basically, we have two fields that help us provide context, especially if you have like multiple brands. It's the brand name that the chatbot is connecting and the business profile. And when we give instructions to the bot and we tell it that it works for the brand name, so the one that you choose while setting up the bot, and we provide then the company description as well. And it's important, especially for questions like what are your opening hours, or are there any discounts, and so on, because the question after those questions, or each question in the bot, we use something which is called question expansion. And the expansion in that case, the most likely will be like, what are the, here is the company's name, opening hours. So if you will use both company description and the brand name, it would be important to set the instructions for the LLM that is generating the response. And when asking the generic question, the bot will try to answer by using the information from this field. So, and to use the business specific or industry specific response wording, or like differentiate between the different brands or companies, not to mix them up. Yeah. And if the business profile is not defined and no company, and we don't have any company name, then it will create confusion for bot and it may cause hallucinations. So please remember about setting up your business profile while creating the bots.
Today I learned something. So never leave it empty, folks. All right, I think we got one more question and then we're at time. Erin, you can bring us home. A question asked by Laura: what would you recommend to get started with using AI agents if backend system integrations aren't an option at this time?
Excellent question, Laura. Thank you for adding it in here. I would have to call everyone back to the graph, the kind of road to 80%, that we showed previously. So the best place to get started is with AI Agents Essential, right? So knowledge is the foundation. So you've got a few knowledge articles. But then when you flip the switch with following the steps that Daria just showed us, when you enable your first AI agents, it'll just pull information from that knowledge base and serve it up to your customers in like a human conversational manner. So this is really the best way to get started. It's AI Agents Essential is free in all suite support plans. So really it's just about, adding those few steps and flipping the switch to turn it on. And then you can start serving up, knowledge-based content to your customers. You can, of course, add an escalation path like we talked about before, and you can really start seeing results almost immediately. So that's what I would encourage everyone to do if you haven't already. Go ahead and at least start playing around with it. It's pretty powerful stuff.
All right, thank you, Erin. I think that's it. Perfect, right on time. All right, thank you all for joining. We really appreciate the engagement, the questions. Thank you to our experts who joined today to just shed some light on all the amazing things happening with AI agents. For all of you who joined us, again, a friendly reminder, we will be sharing the recording as well as the deck and all the Q&A that happened during this session as a follow-up, so keep an eye out. And we will see you next time for our next Relate Deep Dive series on employee service. Talk soon.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much.